What is going on, everyone? Welcome to my channel. My name is Nick. I'm your host. Today we are in Austin, Texas, in search of the grave of Spanky, the original Spanky from the original Little Rascals, George Spanky McFarland. A couple things we're going to do in this video. We're going to go to a few locations. We're going to start the video here. We are currently in the Texas State Cemetery and talk a little bit about who George Spanky McFarland was. Then we're going to go to his house, and then we're going to go to the place where he died, and then we'll end up back here where he currently lays to rest. It's going to be another adventure searching out famous graves. I hope you enjoy. Let's begin.
Let's welcome the leader of the gang, George Spanky McFarland.
And how appropriate to have the Texas state flag waving in the distance. All right, well, here we are. Probably the most beautiful, well-kept cemetery in the state of Texas. Obvious reasons, the Texas State Cemetery. Wow. And I love how when you drive in, it's that first view you get, minus our car parked right in the middle. I gotta go move that, but the road, the Texas state flags. So who was the man who portrayed Spanky in the original Little Rascals? Well, his name was George Robert Phillips McFarland, later to be known in the world as George Spanky McFarland. He was born in Dallas, 1928. Actually lived in the Dallas area most of his life. He was known in today's terms as a child star, a child actor of Hollywood through the 1930s and 1940s. And to the world, he became known as Spanky on the show originally titled Our Gang, but later to be called The Little Rascals. George got started very early, age 3. He modeled children's clothing for a Dallas department store. He's also seen around the Dallas area on highway billboards and print advertisements for Wonder Bread. Who remembers Wonder Bread? I don't eat that stuff. It's not good for you, but anyway, upon being discovered at age 3, he instantly became a key member of the Little Rascals series and one of Hollywood's child stars. His scene-stealing abilities brought him more attention, and by 1935, he was the leader of the gang, often paired with Alfalfa. Now, everyone remembers Alfalfa, right? Even me. I never saw the original Little Rascals. I saw like the later 90s, early 2000s movie, The Little Rascals, but everybody knows Alfalfa. But a funny story that I've read, George Spanky McFarland's father and the actor who played Alfalfa, his father, used to like duke it out back in the day because both of their kids were almost competing to be like the #1 star in the show, even though they both were the top stars of that show. But both fathers kind of like duking it out. It kind of reminds me of moms in cheerleading fighting over my daughter's best. No, my daughter's the best. That's basically how the dads duked it out. But I wanted to mention too, George was a very big deal back in the day, back in his prime in the 30s. He was one of the biggest child actors of that time. I think he starred in like a total of 15 short and full-length film movies. And this is all like as, you know, a 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old kid. So, big deal.
How old were you when you went out and auditioned for this?
The mature age of 3.
3. Do you remember anything about that?
Absolutely nothing.
Did you go with like mom? Or?
I don't know what we're going to do for the next 5 minutes.
Boy, you see any good movies lately?
As a matter of fact, I have.
Now, did your mother take you, or?
Well, let me tell you how it happened. Of course, I was born in Dallas, and I was doing some modeling of baby clothes at the department stores. I did a 1-minute film commercial for Wonder Bread that was shown in local theaters in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Mm-hmm. I I guess that my aunt thought that I was cute enough to send a copy of that commercial in to Hal Roach, who had an ongoing search for kids. But anyway, Hal obviously looked at the clip, saw something he liked, had the parents bring me out, made a screen test, and the fat kid got lucky.
Yeah. Well, how long did you do it? You kept
13 years. 31 to 44.
That was longer than most, wasn't it?
Longer than most. 3 years longer than the next, which was Buckwheat, which was 10 years.
Now, how many of the episodes, the Our Gang episodes, did you do?
I did 95.
And how many did they do altogether?
About 121.
Wow. And now, did you do other films aside from the...
I did 14 feature-length motion pictures during my tenure with Roach and MGM. I guess the one maybe that most people would remember would be Trail of the Lonesome Pine.
Now what I want to do next before we go see his gravesite, I want to go to Grapevine, Texas, which is about 3.5 hours north of Austin, outside of Dallas. It's a little suburb outside of Dallas, where he lived. We're gonna go to his house, see where he died, and then we'll continue on the video. So I'll see you in a bit. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've arrived at our next location. I think I said Grapevine in the video, but we're actually in Keller, Texas, which is basically 2 towns over from Grapevine. Now, I'm on this road. I'm in search of Spanky's home, George McFarland. Now, our story kind of takes a sad turn. All the childhood success he had, yeah, it's raining a little bit, I know. Get wet a little bit here. Anyway, all the childhood success he had basically ended at 16 years old. He couldn't get work anymore. He tried to basically live a normal life, find different jobs, work so many different jobs. It was kind of sad. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but he eventually found success as a sales executive. Somewhere down the street is his house, but anyway, to continue with our story, he worked at a soda factory, a hamburger stand, popsicle factory. As you can see, like I said, he was just basically doing anything to make money. Age 24, joined the Air Force. And then in the 1950s, he finally made his way back to TV. He got a job hosting an afternoon children's show called The Spanky Show, once the Little Rascals aired on TV. So by that point, the show was changed. The name was changed to the Little Rascals. Began to get popular again, and he was able to host the Spanky Show. I've walked for a little bit, and unfortunately I do not have good news, because I think his former home was right up here where all this construction is. Oh man. Oh man. This sucks, because on Google Maps, I was walking around, I was walking down the street and his house was still here. It was, you know, a very modest house for George Spanky McFarland, but this, it was right here, literally. And now it's torn down. I'm not even surprised though, because like there's big time homes all around here, and this was a very modest older home. So I'm sure somebody bought the land, demoed it, and now they're building. Looks like it's going to be a huge house. You know what would be a good idea right now though? I'm going to throw in what I saw on Google Maps, kind of show you around there, so at least you know what I'm talking about. But June 30th of the year 1993, George Spanky McFarland collapsed in his home. He would then be rushed to a hospital in Grapevine, which we'll go to next, where he was pronounced dead. Well, this is really unfortunate. I can't tell these things when I'm on Google Maps and the house is still there. Obviously, it's not anymore. So, but at one time, George Spanky McFarland lived right here, and this is almost where his life ended. So I'm glad I was able to throw in a little bit of Google Maps footage of what the house looked like. So anyway, I want to take a quick stop at the hospital in Grapevine just to, I'm not going to get out because as you can see I'm getting wet now, but just to see where George Spanky McFarland officially passed away. So let's get on the road, head over to One Town North Grapevine. Just to give you an idea, this is a house right up the street. It's for sale right now. So I'm assuming there's going to be a house, something similar to this, built on that lot. And we have arrived. Next location, Baylor Scott White Medical Center here in Grapevine. Basically right around the ER entrance. Obviously there's not going to be much to see, but we'll just continue with our story. So, unconscious, he was transported here to Baylor Medical Center in Grapevine. He died in the emergency room less than an hour after arriving at the hospital. He was only 64 years old. The cause of death was ruled a heart attack. And that would be the end of Spanky from the Little Rascals. And welcome back to Texas State Cemetery. Okay, so now let's go try and find Spanky. I believe he's up on this hill somewhere. I would hope so. A couple other famous graves to note that I've done videos on, these guys. Up on the hill straight ahead that way, the tallest part of the cemetery is the founder of Texas, Stephen F. Austin, who's also the father of the Texas Rangers. And if we swing the camera over this way, right down here below is the one and only Chris Kyle, the American sniper. He's buried right there, sad enough. So he should be on this hill. Somewhere. My wife found him. She usually spots out these locations as I film. Said he was somewhere over this way. Wow, this person just passed away. Dalton Smith Jr., 25. Okay, I had to pause and research stuff, but I've never seen this before. So I read that George had been cremated, but his ashes were buried here. Now, what's interesting is, you're looking at this, you would think this, obviously that's a headstone. There's one right there, and then this whole area is all empty. But if you look at the Texas State Cemetery map and the plot map, I'll actually pull it up now, you could see George McFarland is buried right in front of Morrison. And if we go back here, Jenny Williams Morrison. So there's actually an entire line of people on the plot map all right here. So based off of what we know now, the remains of George Spanky McFarland are right below us somewhere. It's almost like you could see a line like this grass here. Maybe it's just me, I don't know, but it almost looks, this is his row right here. 1, 2, and it's all right here. This is his row. So his ashes are no headstone, unmarked grave. Looks to be right here. So I think at 6 feet below or some sort, George Spanky McFarland is right here. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm showing you guys what I see in the video. So that's what it seems to me, right in front of Jenny Williams. Jenny Williams. There's a character in the original Wolfman named Jenny Williams. Anyway, getting sidetracked. But yeah, I think he's right here. That's what it looks to me. Well, it's, what do I say? It's a little disappointing, I guess. I was hoping, I knew he was cremated, but I read somewhere that his ashes remain here. And I thought he would have just been, there would have been a tiny little marker for him, a headstone with his name, and we would have seen, but I don't know, it's kind of weird that he has nothing, especially, like I said, being a huge child star actor. But anyway, if our assumptions are right in this video, the one and only Spanky, George Spanky McFarland, is buried 6 feet below his ashes. Very interesting, don't you think? Well, y'all, it's gonna wrap it up for this video. I do wish there was a headstone here for Spanky, but it looks to me from the map that his remains are laying peacefully here in the city of Austin, Texas State Cemetery, right in front of us. If you enjoyed, hit that like button. I'd much appreciate it. If you want to see more famous graves, I have an entire famous grave playlist I'll put right now. Hope you click on one of those videos, and I'll see you in the next one.